If you're alone, this story may shake your heart deeply. Turn off the lights, take a deep breath, because terror is about to knock at your door. If you don't like the video, these stories could happen to you too. The city of Istanbul lay silent under a thick, suffocating fog, the hum of life reduced to a faint, eerie whisper. In a modern apartment, 4 friends, Aaron, Layla, Can, and Duygu, gathered for what they believed would be a casual weekend of gaming and chatting online. They had no idea that this night would unravel into a nightmare of unimaginable horror. It began subtly. The lights flickered intermittently, casting the room in wavering shadows. A chill slithered along the floorboards, creeping up their legs, though the radiator hummed with warmth. Layla noticed the corners of the room seemed darker than the rest, shadows curling unnaturally, almost alive. Can laughed nervously, attributing it to the faulty wiring, but the sense of being watched tightened like a noose around their chests. The first real terror struck when Duygu's phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. The screen displayed symbols that twisted and shimmered, as if they were moving. When she opened it, a voice, low, guttural, ancient, spoke through the device. "You have called me. Now, I am here." The air seemed to thicken instantly. Shadows stretched across walls, coiling like serpents. The temperature plunged, frost forming on the edges of tables and windowsills. Objects began to move. Books slid slowly across floors, chairs tipped violently, and a lamp smashed with a deafening crash. Aaron barely ducked in time, the shards of glass scattering inches from his head. Panic took hold. Each friend experienced the entity differently. Layla felt icy hands graze her skin, leaving long, raw scratches. Duygu's reflection in the mirror became something else. Hollow eyes, twisted mouth, whispering threats she couldn't ignore. Can was pressed against the wall by an invisible force, his legs numb, his heart hammering. As the night stretched on, the entity's presence grew stronger, feeding on their fear. Every device, every screen, every message seemed to pulse with its malignant will. Their phones buzzed with messages, each one more sinister than the last, each one revealing knowledge of their deepest fears. "You cannot hide. I see all. I am inside you." Attempts to leave the apartment failed. Doors would not budge. Windows were sealed by unseen forces. The walls seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting with malicious intent. The friends were trapped, caught in a growing nightmare where every sound, shadow, and breath carried threat. Aaron's body began to convulse as the entity manifested through him. His voice shifted, alternating between his own and a guttural, alien tone. "Submit or die. Resistance is meaningless." Objects flew violently, smashing against walls, tables, and floors. The air was thick, suffocating. Every attempt to move was met with crushing force. The entity had become a predator in a space that now seemed alive, and the friends its prey. Time lost meaning. Night and day blurred as the apartment transformed into a hellscape. Shadows twisted into grotesque, humanoid shapes, reaching from corners, ceilings, and beneath furniture. Each shadow whispered threats, promises of eternal torment, each one feeding the entity's power. The friends sought help. A local imam, experienced in dealing with Jinn, arrived with candles, holy water, and sacred verses. But the apartment resisted. Shadows lunged and coiled, forming monstrous shapes. The air vibrated with guttural whispers. You cannot stop me. I am everywhere. I am inside you. The exorcism failed. The entity manifested fully, a dark, towering figure whose presence pressed upon every corner of the apartment. It spoke through Aaron, commanding them to submit or face destruction. Hours passed like weeks. Layla was lifted above her bed, suspended by invisible hands. Can screamed as shadows coiled around him, faces of ancient malice inches from his own. Duigu's screams echoed as the entity used her reflection to communicate, its hollow eyes mocking her every thought. The origin of the curse became horrifyingly clear. The friends had stumbled upon a digital ritual, left behind in abandoned social media accounts and hidden online forums. Each login, each interaction had drawn the entity closer, feeding it through their curiosity, technology, and fear. Desperate, they destroyed all devices linked to the curse, burned ritual notes, and recited prayers with every ounce of strength. The Jinn screamed, a sound so deep and resonant it shook the walls, the ceilings, even the friends' very bones. Shadows writhed violently, towering over them, before retreating slowly into darkness. Exhausted, battered, and traumatized, the friends survived. But the apartment remained cursed. Neighbors reported whispers in the night, doors opening and closing by themselves, and shadowy figures lurking in corners. Every device that had once been connected to the internet seemed to carry a trace of the entity's presence. The terror did not end. The friends found themselves haunted in dreams. Every flicker of light, every unexpected noise, every device carrying a faint pulse reminded them that the Jinn was patient, intelligent, and cruel. It waited, watching, listening, ready for the moment it could strike again. The story of Dabbe 4 is a dire warning. Some forces do not rest, they do not forgive, and they never forget. They wait in shadows, in technology, in the spaces between reality and our digital world. Somewhere, unseen, the Jinn watches, waiting, listening, plotting, and when curiosity or fear beckons, it will strike again, claiming any who dare cross its path.
What waits behind the door, you'll discover in the next video.